Thank you very much for the possibility to speak to you and to talk about the important issues before us. We all know that the COVID-19 crisis is an unprecedented challenge. We have economic challenges, social consequences for this crisis, and that has the potential to drive us apart. We have had serious problems in the past, and we need to bear those in mind. And this is why we chose a different way to tackle this crisis. Europe has dealt with a historical challenge here, and I think has provided a very good response. It has shown solidarity in its response, and I think it has been very helpful in Europe and outside of Europe as well. So I would like to thank the MEPs for having given me the opportunity to take part in this discussion and to talk about these important issues. The economic situation is quite serious in Europe. That is why it's important in the second half of this year we do everything we can to try and tackle this serious recession we're experiencing. Current indicators give us hope that we will have a good recovery. We see that in a number of countries around Europe, but these developments are still quite precarious, and we can't say we're really over the worst of it yet. We know that infection rates are still a major challenge, and they will continue to be so. It's something that we continue to work on while we look at different therapies and vaccinations. And it will be a while before we can get back to the type of life we had before. We need to really prioritise this. This is something that's affected the health and even taken the lives of some of our citizens, sadly. The motto of the German presidency is Together for Europe's Recovery. That is going to be our guiding principle to ensure that Europe becomes stronger, fairer and more sustainable as we overcome and react to the COVID-19 crisis. The main focus in our economic policy is going to be our legislative work on the multi-annual financial framework and on the next generation EU package. We hope to be able to conclude those by the year's end so that in January 2021 this very urgently required money can start to be dispersed. That is why we need to work on legislative acts at an EU level to do this as quickly as possible, and this is particularly the case for the own resources decision that has to be ratified by national parliaments. The recovery package will provide a significant contribution to the resilience and competitiveness of our economy and will also help support the digital and economic transitions that we will see in the future. That is why the Recovery and Resilience Facility is going to be a key instrument for us in terms of reform and investments. That in the short term is really going to help the negative effects of the COVID-19 crisis, but also it will help in the middle and long term to help with sustainable and inclusive growth. With the recovery package, we have a new level of common financial policy, and I think it's important that we use this opportunity to work further on EU fiscal integration. The necessary financial means are very important. We are borrowing these for the first time on the EU markets, and we will be paying them back together. So we need to think in the long term about more own resources. So these are different options that have been set out in the Council. For example, carbon border mechanism, the ETS, broadening this to air and maritime travel. And we also have possible taxation in the area of the digital economy, as well as the financial transaction tax. We have a lot of issues that have been raised here, and we'll have to have further discussions to come to a concrete proposal in Council. The crisis and the response to this crisis have made it very clear that what we need is a well-equipped society capable of acting. That's going to be really decisive to reacting to this type of situation. We need to make sure that we can properly finance this response. This is very important for us to protect and support our citizens and our companies. There are a lot of challenges in the future. We see that with digitalisation particularly. There are many tax-related challenges here related to that. We know that there are large multinational companies that are active in the digital economy that are very successful, but are only paying a very low rate of taxation, even though they're making so much money. That's something we need to find solutions to, and I think we need an international approach to tackle this. I am very pleased that in parallel to our presidency, there is also discussions ongoing in the OECD that are quite far advanced as to an internationally agreed solution to platforms and to the digital economy, and trying to find an effective minimum taxation for companies. Both of those are very urgent for us to have, and this is something that our presidency will continue to work towards. What's also important is creating a European structure for fair and effective taxation. We want to try and bring that forward. There's a number of different proposals that we have on the table here. Some need further work. We have the issue of the common corporate tax base, for example, where the Commission has made a proposal. There are other countries such as France and Germany that have made proposals here as well. We need to really promote the competitiveness of our economy. There are two key areas here that we really want to focus on, and that's the banking union and the capital markets union. We need both of these here if we really want to make progress in Europe. We really need to work on our banking and finance sector because we want them to be able to make a positive contribution to the real economy. So this is work we will be doing in the context of our Council presidency. We will be working on discussions, for example, to finance Basel III on the basis of a Commission proposal, and we will deepen that. What is also important for us is the digital transition in the financial sector. We want to try and support that. This is an area where Europe needs to defend its sovereignty. We need to use all the technological possibilities that are available to us to ensure the stability of the financial markets, the capital markets. We also want to provide security to our citizens as well. So this is particularly the case when we talk about crypto assets, for example, and in particular the stable coins. I know that there has been a lot of criticism of this and criticism of Europe from the different stakeholders, and I think what we really need to do is put a lot more work onto this. We don't want private economic actors taking over things that states should be taking care of. We also need to make sure that we are working effectively and making progress in the area of money laundering. What we need is an effective supervisory structure at a European level. That is something we need to guarantee the integrity of the financial markets. We will be working on Council conclusions as an input to the legislative proposal of the European Commission. We also have the issue of sustainability. Here, the financial sector can make a contribution. We want to make progress working together with all of those involved. We put together a taxonomy or a classification on sustainable finance, and in the months to come we will work on practical screening criteria to define those to see which activities can be classed as sustainable. So that will be our contribution to provide guidelines for the financial sector so that then they can act. So I'll conclude there. I look forward to cooperation and to the discussion that we will have now. Thank you very much.